Hey all. Well, still in that strange limbo between seasons. Season 3 is pretty much closed down, but Season 4 won't be up and running until sometime in late February. That limbo doesn't mean that I've stopped thinking about things. This update episode of Film Fancy will be my take on the film Dream Scenario. My first memory of Nicolas Cage as an actor is from the 1987 film he did with Cher, Moonstruck. Just a silly romantic comedy, but a film I liked enough to see a couple of times in cinema. It was actually one of the first films that I saw dubbed into Spanish during my second stay here in 1987. I went to see it twice in Spanish, once alone and another time with a friend. I figure I already knew the story well enough to be able to use the experience as a Spanish listening exercise. All I remember is that I thought Cage was really good looking. I didn't realize at the time that he was working on the stereotype that would turn him into a character actor throughout the rest of his career. I liked him as an actor, but for a couple of decades or so he's been in movies that seemed like he agreed to do because he had a mortgage to pay. I actually called them mortgage movies. He's not the kind of actor that would make me say I'd want to see a film just because he's in it. The majority of his work is in genres that I simply don't look at. So, Dream Scenario didn't catch my eye because Nicolas Cage was the lead actor. I actually watched it because a friend had suggested it and because reviews and the trailer intrigued me. The story is pretty simple. People around the world begin to have dreams in which Cage's character, Paul Matthews, appears, not doing anything in particular. He may be raking leaves. He may be simply passing by on the street. The person dreaming is often in some near-nightmare scenario, may interact with this man who they generally don't know, but Dream Matthews never does anything, despite the angst of the dreamer. Matthews gradually realizes that he is appearing in random people's dreams all over the world, and begins to question why he is so passive in all of those dreams. The answer to that question cannot be all that hard. Matthews is a biology professor at some university. By the way his students behave during his lectures, it seems he's not your dynamic, inspirational Robin Williams or Sidney Poitier type teacher. He's actually quite dull. He's soft-spoken, he's a bit unkempt, he's pretty passive, timid, conforming. It is in one of his biology class settings that the actual theme of the film is presented to us. This theme is so important that Matthews repeats it just a little later on in the film. The theme is the answer to a simple question related to evolutionary survival of the fittest camouflaging. Why does the zebra have stripes? As Matthews explains, after having given his bored class of must-be freshman students a chance to speculate, the zebra doesn't have stripes in order to blend in with its environment. That's silly. You can see a lone zebra a mile away. It's a white horse with black stripes. No, the zebra has stripes, like its mates, in order to blend in with the herd. A lion may attack one zebra alone at the drinking hole. A lion would not be able to attack an entire herd, and all those stripes mingling together makes it hard to single out one zebra to attack. Matthews is the zebra in Dream Scenario. He's part of a herd of unimportant people. He sticks out when he's alone. He actually looks kind of like a serial killer as he lumbers across campus to his classes in a scraggy parka. But when he's among others, he's just a normal guy, no one important, doesn't stand out. He can't stand out, perhaps because he fears attack. An early scene involves a confrontation he must have with someone he knew or worked with in the past. This academic, a woman, is planning on publishing a paper on something Matthews considers himself an expert at. He wants her to delay the publication for fear that she might use some of the ideas that he had when they worked together on the social behavior of ants. Matthews' wife has encouraged him to stand up for his rights. He's been planning on writing a book on the subject for years. It's not right for that other to get first dibs. However, instead of asserting himself, Matthews allows the passive side of his passive-aggressive personality to dominate. He fades back into the herd to avoid attack. Yet, on reading the former colleague's final paper, he flips. He steps away from the herd of unremarkable professors, throws a fit in the privacy of his home, and changes dramatically the course of his participation in strangers' dreams. Yes, because his appearance in the dreams of people he does not know all around the world has also contributed to his stepping away from the herd. While at first hesitant to accept this strange premise, Matthews finally tries to take advantage of becoming a viral presence in the social media universe that internet has submitted to. He has allowed himself to be signaled out, even when he tries to be part of the herd, like attending a school play or having lunch in a diner. His stripes seem to be of a different color, his herd transformed into the predator. I was pleased throughout the film to have to remind myself that Nicolas Cage was playing the part of Paul Matthews. The character is still one of those characters that Cage has made for himself his watermark, yet he manages to blend into the character, make those striped quirks of his acting style part of the herd mentality that makes the character believable. Suspending disbelief on the shared dream character is not difficult at all. It's presented in a clear, logical fashion. It is not questioned, mainly because the herd has accepted it themselves. Perhaps Matthew's defense later in the story, that he is not the one in everyone's dreams, and so should not be held accountable for what happens in those dreams, also lends credence to that premise. Or maybe it's a really weird section near the end of the film about some kind of viral tech bracelet that helps people enter the dreams of others, makes hardly believable connection between out-of-body astral projection and being an internet content creating influencer. Maybe it's that gives us enough of a stretch to make the "who is this man in my dream" scenario seem much more plausible. Though this segment is kind of essential to how things finally work out for Matthews, I wish the writers had thought of something a little less trendy. That section kind of steps on its own toes, tries to be critical of an internet reality, but is so unbelievable that it almost seems like something generated by artificial intelligence. So, honestly funny, sometimes disturbing, sometimes pity-producing, I found Dream Scenario to be an actually pretty good movie. Some parts made me cringe, but in a way that bucks up what I thought about what was going on screen. The reality of the message was cringeworthy, not the acting or the script. A good kind of cringe. I didn't really feel sorry for Cage's character, wasn't sympathetic towards his experience, didn't even think he deserved or didn't deserve the outcome of that experience. Was there a moral, like, don't stand out from the herd and make yourself the prey? No, I don't think so. I think the idea was more like, look at what can happen to a normal, boring, unimportant man when forces someone larger than him push him away from the herd and make him show his stripes to a largely predatory society. It may not have been principle, but the not favorable critique of the social media side of our shared virtual reality is easy to read throughout. Do I recommend the movie? Well, yeah, I guess so. Acceptable acting, a pretty strong script, except that section near the end. Bleh. A well thought out and executed theme, and if you happen to like Nicolas Cage, you'll probably enjoy what he's done in this one. Despite seeming to stray away from his action man, everyman, sensitive man character, he's actually aging with it and showing its age. Did I mention that Season 4 of You're Listening to Radio Revel is due to start sometime near the end of February? Oh yeah, I did. I'll drop an update about that in the next week or so, as well as in some other update episode just to keep my seat warm here on the broadcast. And if you are new, go listen to older episodes. They're there for the taking. Cheers!
You're listening to Radio Revel. Listen, like, subscribe, and share.